Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, and we'll give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists in the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah.
Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace to people of good will. So a few days ago, last Monday, the Kang Cadmus account put out a video titled, "I'm a former white black Hebrew Israelite cult leader." And so I wanted to show a few short clips from that video and ever so briefly discuss what wasn't said and why this particular gentleman in the video has relevance to One West history. So with that, let's jump right in with a bit of an intro clip, which will run for a little over 30 seconds, and fair use.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aaron. Bro, I got like one of the best videos ever. I hope it doesn't get me in trouble, because there is no ill intentions with this video. People just keep asking me questions. So, everybody likes a good story. So I'll give you a good story. I am a former white black Hebrew Israelite cult leader. Yes. Now I was with Great Millstone, here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so that's how the video started, and the bulk of the rest of his video was him discussing his beliefs, which are apparently quasi-Marcionite at this point. But putting his current beliefs aside for a moment, as I noted at the start, in this video I want to discuss his relevance to One West history. And this is worth documenting, as it seems that, with all due respect, within the Israelite spectrum there is very little interest in the history of that spectrum, and so seemingly most of the folks who are within that spectrum are barely familiar with what was going on just a decade prior, or even a few years prior. For example, I've encountered more than a few Israelites who never heard of Tazadakia, right? They'll literally say, well, who's that? I never heard of him. You know, a man who was once one of the most well-known or even most infamous figures in the Israelite spectrum is now a complete unknown to many people today, because, I mean, honestly, many are only focused on the current moment, you know, in conjunction with their private interpretations or the private interpretations of their particular group, right? But let's talk about the significance of the man on your screen, Aaron, or as he humorously said, Aaron, also known as Kang Cadmus, or as he used to call himself, Rex Scientia, right? He's the former leader of GMS's Columbus, Ohio camp. And here's one way that he's relevant to One West history, which wasn't touched on in his video. He's arguably the Israelite who inspired Vocab Malone to start focusing on the Israelite spectrum. You see, back around 2011, this man was going to churches and picking arguments with pastors, and Vocab caught wind of that because it was happening in and around the city that he was from. You see, from Vocab's perhaps earliest impression of the Israelite spectrum and his earliest impression of the situation, he saw an issue that was not being addressed by Christian apologists, right? Basically, a new religious movement which was going out of its way to pick arguments with Christianity. And so Vocab decided that he would start looking at Hebrew Israelites. So for all you Israelites who dislike Vocab and his work and how much attention he pays to the Israelite spectrum, the man on your screen, whom you might be unfamiliar with, played a significant role in Vocab turning his attention to the Israelites. That aside, on a perhaps less significant note, it could be argued that this man was also a sort of catalyst for GMS's hate campaign against Sabach. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that it's Aaron's fault, right? I'm not blaming him for that campaign. On the contrary, Tahar had long been picking arguments, very acrimonious arguments, with other Israelites as part of like an attempt to distinguish GMS from all the other groups. So it was, just a matter of time before he got around to Zabak. But it could still be said that one of Aaron's videos was the spark that happened to set that inevitability off, So I'd like to take a moment to tell that story, to submit it into the record, lest, it be forgotten, lost to history. You see, this gentleman had a video in which he was arrested by the police while holding camp, right? You see, the cops took issue with the language that he was using while he was holding camp, and when he was in the midst of saying, basically he said, we have freedom of speech, so I can say F the police, and he didn't just say the letter F, he said the full word, while he was like right in the midst of saying that, F the police, the cop grabbed him by the throat and, mid-sentence and arrested him on camera, and he uploaded the video. And Zabak left a comment on that video declaring, quote, "That's what happens when Edomites put on the garments," end quote. And a number of GMS accounts were clearly infuriated by that and, started responding furiously and calling Zabak a Hamite and cursing at him and all sorts of things like that. And honestly, some of those accounts may have been run by the GMS leadership. And whatever the case, from then onwards, GMS had like a years-long campaign against Zabak, accusing him of all sorts of things. And humorously, Yohana, the leader of ISUPK, actually commented indirectly on that fiasco. He did so without mentioning specifically Zabak, but nonetheless, in a video from around that time, like 2011, 2012, Yohana made a passing reference to the white leader of the GMS camp in Ohio. And he said, I remember him saying, "Let me tell you something, man. Tahar loves that white boy." And then he repeated it with like more emphasis. He said, "Tahar loves that white boy," right? And at the time, it seemed clear that Yohana was alluding to how you can set Tahar off by daring to speak ill of his quote-unquote white disciple in Ohio. And he was saying that, tacitly against the backdrop of GMS going after Zabak for doing precisely that. And roughly a decade later, Elazar Ben Loya, the leader of Sakari, recounted how when he was with GMS, that campaign against Zabak had a significant influence on him and on his thinking. Here, consider this quick clip.
Right? And that's some of the errors that the elder and apostles of Great Millstone led the men up under him to do, is going out of their way to justify hatred towards brothers. Right? You taught me hatred towards people that I never knew. Right? You taught me hatred towards people that I never knew on false accusations that y'all forwarded against them. That's a real thing, right? That is a very real thing. They called Zabak, they told us Zabak is an adulterer, right? Said all forms of evil about Zabak. But they told me that this nigga is a wicked, evil adulterer, right? And to hate his guts before I ever met the man. So much to the point where I'm in the same room as him and I avoid meeting him, and he goes out of his way to make sure he meets and greets me and breaks that spirit off me, which I'm talking about, Zabak from House of Israel, right? You taught people to hate people, right?
All right, so I wanted to show that just to say that while, yes, GMS was going after practically every Israelite group, so they were bound to go after Zabak one way or another, and yes, they had a number of different accusations against Zabak, but, it still seems that it can be argued that the spark that set off the powder keg was Zabak daring to call the leader of GMS's Columbus camp an Edomite, right? But whatever the case, I could end this video here, as that basically sums up at least most of the thoughts that I have on his relevance to Long West history. Now, perhaps there's more that can be said, like, he was arguably an early test case in GMS's idea of there being quote-unquote white Israelites and, the whole confusion of faces things. And he might be the most significant example of GMS's quote-unquote white members, right? And I do wonder if the GMS leadership still considers this man an Israelite, or, if they'll introduce an update to their purported reading of his spirit, right? That's also a theme with GMS. However, before I close this video, it seems to me that it's worth noting that in the same video, he made clear that he has become skeptical of all religion. And I'd like to play a quick clip touching on that. So here we go, and again, fair use.
Like I said, bro, like the Israelites, I think overall, they're a positive force in the universe. Most with any religious people, even the most religions are wacky. Like, I don't trust no religious people no more, bro. I've lost all trust. Because it always ends up getting wacky. Alright, so never join a church, never join any religious organization ever in your life. Don't do it. Okay? Just walk your own path, brothers. Trust me. Shit gets weird. I could do without the weirdo and wacky shit in my life. I really could. But I really do. I love the Lord. I'm trying to get in tune with the spirit, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so I wanted to show that to say that there are other former One Westers who moved away from religion in general. Now, you know, some former One Westers go Christian. I can think of a couple who went Muslim, but there are also those who come out of the One West spectrum deeply skeptical of religion in general, and that's for different reasons. You know, some become skeptical of religion because the way their particular group might have treated religion as a hustle made it feel as though perhaps all of religion is just one big hustle. Others feel that the ugliness that they saw in their former group is a nearly inevitable byproduct of religion in general. And, you know, Aaron sort of alluded to that. He felt that the ugliness that was in, you know, GMS rhetoric was just a natural outgrowth of the Old Testament. You know, I think he would probably enjoy like the writings of Gore Vidal. You know, Gore Vidal had an article titled "Monotheism and Its Discontents" or something like that. You know, I felt there was a similar theme there. But that said, when I was listening to this, I had the thought that I'd honestly be interested in seeing a dialogue between Aaron and other former One Westers who have become deeply skeptical of religion. Like, for example, a dialogue between Aaron and San Miguel. You know, maybe San Miguel can interview him. That might be interesting, I don't know. Or maybe even a discussion with the guys from Rebel Alliance Media, KOC and the Marksmen. I don't know exactly what they're up to these days, but that would be an interesting roundtable, at least in my thoughts, right? You know, to get this sort of new perspective. I don't know. But with that, I'll close this video here, and I want to close it with a clip of Aaron touching on how, despite the confidence he feigned while leading a GMS camp, he actually harbored doubts for years. So here, enjoy the clip, fair use, and, you know, please feel free to share your thoughts. And as always, God bless.
I mean, I got a lot more to say, but this is just like a little fun video. Like I said, I'm a former white, black, Hebrew, Israelite cult leader, yeah. Like, what I did was such a great accomplishment, you know? You know, I'm really proud of it. I'm so proud of my achievements in my past. I actually miss teaching with them. I really do, but I just, you know, honesty comes first. And I'm honest with myself and honest with the data and everything going on. So honesty comes first, and truth comes before my feelings and friends and everything. I mean, I could have kept mine for a little while longer. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, I was teaching for many years with doubts in my head, but I didn't want to abandon everybody because they're my friends. Alright, so, I've been a secret Gnostic for like, not a Gnostic, but whatever, for years and years.
Yeah, I seen this video. I thought of this verse right here, and it says, and he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention, a sower went forth to sow, right? Which just dealing with you being a so-called prophet, a man of the Lord. You're going out there to do the work, right? And you know, you're basically, the Lord said, you putting forth your hand to the plow and looking back, you're not fit for the kingdom, right? Goes into you being a you know, a reaper and well, not a reaper yet, but a sower, right? Right. But if you sow something, you're planning on reaping, right? And it says that's the expectations, right? And it says and when he sowed, some seed fell upon the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up, right? Which, you know, I used to do landscaping. That was part of one of my professions that I'd done before, and we would put out, winter rye, or you put out, a Bermuda or whatever you put out during the summer, right? But in Arizona, you only really got 2 seasons. You only got winter and pretty much hot. It's just hot, right? And so, but when you throw out the seed, you'll see birds come out. So that's why a lot of times we would aerate it. So then that way some of the seeds will fall in the holes, right? When you aerate it, right? And that way it doesn't eat up all the seeds, right? Which that's like kind of similar to plowing to get it deeper into the soil, right? When you aerate it, and it says, and some fell upon stony places, and I've seen that too. You put on thing, if there's rocks or there's something else on there, the seed will land on that and won't be in the ground. And so sometimes when you come back, there'll be bald spots in the field where the grass grew up where you seed, but then there's bald spots, and then you go back and you basically treat it, and then you put some more seed, and so it grows, that spot grows, right? So it says, and says there, and when they had, there where they had not much earth, right? Because the root has to come down, and it says, and then it has to root into the earth to sprout up. But if it's not directly in the earth, the water made it sprout, but then there's no nutrients to get into it. And that's what happens with a lot of people because they're not studying. So they're not getting that nutrients. So it could be that dude, he wasn't studying the way he needed to be studying. Or even like the brother, Yawasop said, sometimes brother get into doing a little too much, right? You look at how the Lord's been merciful, and you get to doing a lot of secret sins, right? And so the Lord basically snatch spirit from you, right? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why this guy could end up being disenchanted, right? Right? Could be he wasn't studying enough. Could be he was doing other things, probably not things that's super bad, but it's bad when you're not feeding, right, yourself, right? So it leaves you, disenchanted because then you're not connected. You're not connected to the source, right? And it says, not much earth, and forthwith they sprout right up because they had no deepness of earth, right? And I believe that's Apostle Gabar. Even Apostle Har says sometimes be one deep. So you got to go a little bit deeper in your studying than just some regular, than just being a Christian, reading everything surface level or just believing everything that the apostles say just for face value. I mean, even though we don't think that the apostles will lie to us, but the Lord, the scripture says, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. So when you look at it and you do, and you like, no, I know this exists because I went and looked it up. I seen it for myself that it was so. So that increases your belief, right? And that makes it where you can't be persuaded. You know what I mean? Right? Neither to the right hand nor to the left. These are the words, walk ye in it, right? So, that's ultimately what happens when you're rooted, right? You ain't gonna be persuaded. It says, because there was no earth, And this is yeah, I'm getting closer to where I'm trying to get to my point. It says, and when the sun was up, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And that's ultimately where that dude is at. He didn't have the root. He wasn't feeding himself. The root wasn't down to nourish him, and then you get disenchanted, right? And some fall up among thorns. See, that could be too. Could have been his friends, the people he hung around with, or hey, Apostle Harson. Maybe this dude was connected to vocab, right? And the Lord used him for a season to do what he needed to do, and now the Lord put him away. The Lord kicked him out. You know what I mean? And it says, and some fell upon thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them, right? Yeah. The cares of this world, things like that, right? But others fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some an 100-fold, some fell upon good ground, brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, and some 30-fold. Let me see. Who have ears to hear, let him hear. Right? Yeah, so Mark 4:16 said, and those are they that likewise are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness. So yeah, you like, what? I'm an Irish, right? And I'm really actually an Israelite, right? I'm really not just a so-called white man. I'm really actually the people from Italy, are actually Israelites, right? Because the Moors conquered that land, right? You can be like, I know I always felt different, or whatever. People, I didn't click with people. Oh, dang, he got excited, right? Maybe, you know what I mean? And got glad, right? It says, and have no root in themselves, and so endured but for a time. See, that's dude. Yeah, he 8, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. I mean, that's a long time to be like that. Man, it doesn't even begin to make sense after this point. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises, and we're in that time, man, right? Brothers are showing how people are saying, what was it? Some chick put a thing, and then she's a Jake. She's an Israelite. May everybody have a good day, but the Hebrew Israelites, right? And that's crazy. For the word sake, immediately they are offended, right? And that's where a lot of cats are at. They in the time of being offended, man, right? So, word. Let me go there. It's like right here, Psalms 42:9 says, I will say unto the Most High, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, my power, why has thus forsaken me? And see, sometimes you go through this walk and there's times you may feel forsaken, man. Right? And you have to keep your mind on, the prophecy space. That's why the Lord said, that's why this thing is about prophecy. That's why the spirit of Yahushua is about prophecy, right? I mean, you can look to the promises, of course. The Lord said, I will never forsake you, nor leave you, nor forsake you. You can look at those things. Have the righteous ever been forsaken and begging for bread? I've not ever once seen. You can look to those things, but the main thing is looking towards what? Prophecy, right? Because when you know prophecy is happening and you know that the Lord is faithful and true, right? As prophecy says it is. It is faithful and true, right? So then you don't abandon the Most High, even if you feel abandoned. Lord, I feel abandoned, but I see prophet. This will not be the time to freaking give up, right? Even in the time the dude was saying he felt disenchanted, there were things happening even in that time that was never happening before in history, lining itself up with prophecy, right? Ever since I've been in the truth, right? I came in a little late compared to other brothers. I think it was like 2015 or something like that when I came into the truth, when I understood. And then I started going out and teaching. I think it was about 2015 or so. So, I'm a late bloomer compared to a lot of other brothers. But a lot of stuff was happening. Even then, that was aligned with prophecy. There was really no reason to faint. Even when I felt like fainting, the prophecies made me too afraid to just quit. Like I'm looking at things, I'm like, I can't just give up. This thing is too real. You had the CV-19 happen. You had all this happening. You had it's just too much crazy stuff was happening, man. Right? You just can't faint. Even when you feel like fainting, you just can't faint, man. You gotta keep pushing, man. Man. Don't let your hand off that plow, right? It says, why go I mourning? See, that's what a lot of brothers do. They get disenchanted because we're in a constant state of mourning. You see, all the world is in the mirth, and you be like, damn, I want to be happy too. Yeah, but they're gonna you ever see, especially Issachar, they got a big thing with the laugh now and cry later. Well, that's not a good mentality, man. We're in the cry now, laugh later, right? Right? You ever heard the saying, he who lasts the best? Right? We're in that mentality, man. We're looking to laugh last and then laugh the best, man. When we're laughing at everybody's calamities, as the scriptures say. See, we're looking at prophecy too tough, man, to let go, right? It says, why go I mourning because of the oppression of my enemy, right? See, and we're in this place, Babylon the Great. We're in the oppression of our enemy on a daily basis, man. Always mourning. We always come, and then the people, well, man, all y'all do is talk about the so-called. Hey, well, the biggest factors of the Bible, if you know the Bible, the two main characters are Esau and Jacob. So guess what we're talking about, bro? The Bible's about Esau and Jacob. Period. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? You know what I'm saying? With nothing lagging. It's going to just continue right on, right into Yahushai's kingdom, right into King David ruling. See? We're going to laugh last, and we're going to laugh the best. We're going to laugh even before that. We're going to laugh in the time of Jacob's trouble, Lord willing. You know, I'm part of that number. So we can laugh at your distress. Laugh at all your calamities, as the scriptures say, right? It says, yeah, as with a sword in my bones. So yeah, it starts to hurt. You know, like they talk about when a person who had their bones broken, or they got this what they call arthritis or whatever. When it rains, it hurts. So man, to us, it's like it's constantly raining. So your bones constantly hurt. But even with that, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing, man. The Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, none of the apostles or the elder bishops or the elders never told us this was going to be easy. They actually told us the opposite. They told us that, hey, be prepared to suffer. Matter of fact, the Apostle Tahar said, hey, we got to learn to love to suffer. So that's part of that thing. We got to love to suffer, right? Because we're doing a great work, right? Right? Because matter of fact, let me get this real quick, and I'm gonna come back to this. Let me get this real quick, because this what came to my mind right here. It says Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 said, "Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season." See, and that's what we're waiting on, man. We're waiting on the due season. In due season, we shall reap. Right? That's when we're going to reap the benefits, man. Right now, there's no benefit in this life right now. Like this life is dead. Everything is dead, man. Right? We have a few jokes and stuff, we kick it with the brothers, but for the most part, we're in mourning, man. We're in pain, right? And we're gonna cry out to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. Right? On a daily basis. Right? It says we faint not. See? The whole point is not to faint, man. As we have therefore what unit opportunity. Ooh, nice. You understand that? Do you understand what I just therefore says as we have opportunity. See that? And it's not given to everybody, right? Matter of fact, said, let us do good unto all men, especially, and it ain't talking about all men as far as everybody on the planet. No, the all men ain't even talking about all of Israel. It's talking about the hopeful elect, right? Preaching the word, doing good to them, right? Because this is the good news, and this is a work that it's that it's sent out, that it activates the elect, right? Right? It's especially unto them that, right, there you go, right? Especially unto them who are of the household of what? Of faith, which will be the elect, right? That's crazy. Says, ye see how large a letter I have written unto you with my own hand, right? Wow, it's beautiful. Right, matter of fact, let's keep reading. I'll just read this last verse real quick. And as many as desire to make a fair show in their flesh. Yeah, see? And that's what happens anyway. People start they start out spiritual, but then they're trying to work this thing in their flesh, and the flesh makes you weary, man. The flesh it'll tire you out. That's the reason why the scripture says that though our outward man perish, the inward man is renewed day by day. See, if your inward man is being renewed day by day, then it's kind of like you're not getting tired. It's kind of like you're not mourning, you're not. I mean, you are mourning, but you're not letting it get you all down. You're not like Snuffleupagus. Hi, bird. Yeah, another day. It's just a Monday morning. Oh, another mundane day. You know, you just, you know what I'm saying? You're just going through life. Yeah, that's it. You're just going through it, but not living, right? This is the living word, right? Right? He's the God of the living and not the dead. They constrain you, yeah, the flesh. They constrain you to be circumcised only lest they should suffer what? Persecution. Lest they should suffer persecution for the cross of Yahweh Shai. See, yeah, exactly. You letting these people trying to get you to prove yourself, like a vocab come around. Well, how do we know you're the Israelite? We don't have to prove nothing to you, right? You're not the one who went on the cross and died for us, right? I don't have to prove a damn thing to you. Who I need to prove it to is the one who laid on the who put himself on, allowed himself to be on that cross and gave himself for me. I don't have to prove nothing to a man that's a flesh, and you want to try to get me to weary myself to prove to who? You're nobody, right? Right? You didn't lie down on the cross. Yahweh Shai did, man. And it ain't no what is it? Earth pig, man. Right? No Jesus, right? G meaning earth and sus meaning pig, man. Right? It says for neither they themselves are circumcised keep the law, but desire to have you circumcised, that they may glory in your flesh, right? So they trying to get you to constrain to their way of the world, or their ideal of what they think Christendom would be, right? But not what being an Israelite is, or what they think Hebrew Israelism is, or whatever the madness they like to tell you, trying to put you into bitter constraints, right? But let's keep on. But yet the power of the Most High Yahweh forbid that I should glory save in the cross of our Lord, or other one Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, by whom the world is crucified unto, who the world is crucified unto me, and I unto the world, right? Only for the elect. So who are we worried about, man? Yahweh Shai crucified himself unto the world, which is dealing with the elect, and the elect is crucified unto Yahweh Shai for who? For Yahweh Shai, being the elect. We're not worried about anything else. Letting things worry, letting them try to put bitter constraints upon you. And now I'm doubting in the scriptures. I just kind of doubted, but I still came out and taught anyway. Nah, you're talking madness, bro. Yeah. Yeah, let me finish this up. Come back to here. Psalms 42:10. It says, with a sword in my bone, my enemies reproach me, while they say daily unto me, where is thy power? Right? Where's your God? Where are you? You're just another black Hebrew Israelite. You're a black Hebrew Israelite. You're a white man who's teaching a black cult. So they say so now I don't know. Dang, I don't know if I can handle the so-called ridicule to a bunch of people who's nothing. They didn't put themselves on the cross, bro. Right? And we know that, right, what they say is the thing that they put their hope in is not even real. There's no such thing as the name, the man, the myth, and the legend, right? The real truth, which is really Yahweh Shai, did exist, But they basically paste, right? No point intended, right? They paste someone over Yahweh Shai and gave you that. Took the I that in that time, which would be Greek, which the Lord wasn't even Greek either, and elongated the I, made it a J, and gave you that. But this is the thing that they're hanging on, trying to put you into bitter constraints. And they're hanging their whole thing on a complete lie. But because they're coming to you on a daily basis saying, where's your power? Where's your power? Where's this? Where's that? And you're just a cult. You let that thing wear you down, wear you out to you don't believe anymore? That's crazy. It says, why art thus cast down, O my soul? Well, yeah, why? It doesn't make sense. It says, and why art thus disquieted? See, now you're not even out there teaching. You're just disquieted, bro. That is crazy. And within me, yeah, the Lord took away the Holy Spirit from you, right? It says, hope thus in the power. See, our hope is always in Yahweh. Always hope in Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash, right? It's always hope in that, right? There's nothing else, bro. Just these scriptures, bro. And that name, man, that holds weight and true power, man. Who is the who is the health of my continents, right? See, it's gonna make you glad, bro. Happy. Make your continent. Even though we go out there, we're mourning, we're telling the Lord, man, this place is filthy, and the GMO food, and the freaking ozone layer, and the pollution in the ocean, and our women ain't correct, right? We're last hired, first fired. We're constantly mourning. Demons is attacking us. Lord, please, Baba Kushai, Yahweh Shai, please protect me. The demons is attacking me. Right? On a constant basis. But you don't let it wear you out, because what? Who is the health of my continents and my power? See? Wow. See? Whew. Right, so this is Matthew chapter 22, verse 11. And when the king, you know what, maybe I got to go up a little bit further. Yeah, you might as well. Because that's ultimately what we're out there to do, right there. Wait, matter of fact, let's go. Start at 8, right here. Matthew 22 and 8. So then saith he to his servants, right? Which that would be us, right? Well, really it'd be the angels. Then the angels go out and they basically they wake people up, so to speak, right? They give you some understanding, right? They sup with you. The angels go out and sup with you, right? It says the servants, the wedding. Then he said unto his servants, the wedding is ready. See, right? Basically talking to the angels. Okay, yeah, now it's time to go wake them up. Now it's 1968, 69, something like that, when Abba Bibbins basically came on the scenes after being a commandment keeper. Something intuitive, right? Within him knew we needed a Messiah. You have to have the Messiah, right? So then it created the, One West, right? So it was time. So those things, hey, because matter of fact, even the apostle said, I forgot, I don't know if it was High Priest Ariah, one of them, but he said he was at the casino in Florida, and he said there was a person telling him, say, hey, look, everybody in here is an Israelite, which he said most likely was an angel, right? So basically it's like the angels went out and said, the Lord said, hey, to his servants, the wedding is ready, right? So now it's time to go wake them up. But they which were bidden were not worthy, right? So you got your so-called irregular evangelical pastors and preachers and things like that. You got the the commandment keepers, 'cause they didn't believe, they didn't believe in the Messiah. They were unworthy, right? Right. That's why Abba Bibbins left the commandment keepers, because hey, he was going to be worthy. He says, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid them to the marriage. Wow. Abba, Bib. Hey, because if you think of what Bib is, Abba, father, bid. Hey, man. Abba meaning father, bid, hey, could be, yeah. Right? It says, have the son's heart to the fathers and the father's heart to the sons. What? To bid you, right? To the marriage. Hey, so these servants went out unto the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, right? You had people come into the truth, they fell out, right? And then you still got bad, you still got some of these bad seeds, these bad children within the truth, right? Both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests, and when the king came to see the guest, he saw there a good man. There, and then he saw a man, not a good man. So then he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment, right? You're not dealing with the truth, the correct fashion, the correct manner, and that's kind of like what you were. You're there, I don't know. You out there, you're still teaching, but you didn't really believe. What are you doing here? See? It says, and he saith unto him, friend, how cometh thus in hither, not having a wedding garment? Right? So remember, there's some bad ones and there's some good ones, but you still, as a person, you don't have the wedding garment on, right? And he was speechless. And see, now you're not out on the highways, and you don't even have an excuse, right? Right? Because it did say in the scriptures that there be others that teach Yahushai for strife. You're not even teaching Yahushai under strife, right? You're just speechless now. I don't believe I believe in monotheistic or whatever madness it is, right? Then said the king to the servants, bind his hand and feet and take him away and cast him into outer darkness. And that's where you're at now, but you're really good. You're gonna really feel the darkness in the time of Yahweh's trouble, man. Right? There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You're gonna have regrets, right? Which is destruction. Destruction, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Woe unto them that abide not in this gospel, right? You know, it says, for many are called, but few are chosen. See, you were called to this thing, but guess what? You about to feel the utter darkness, the outer darkness. You're about to have the weeping and gnashing of teeth, your high regrets and destruction, right? It says, then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. And that's basically what vocab does, man. Or these other freaking evangelicals or these other people, they'll come up, try to ask you some questions and try to entangle you. So like he went to the dude out there, I guess just one body, right? And he said, so are you gonna kill babies? Are you gonna kill white babies? As if it's just gonna be white babies, man. It's gonna be Chinese babies, African babies. It's gonna be all the nation's babies, but especially an Edomite baby, man. Right? As if we're as if we're a respecter of persons. All these nations. If you're not an Israelite, right? And hey, man, hey, even the Israelites are gonna get it, man. That's what you don't understand. The Lord is saving the elect, and that all Israel may be saved, but it's starting with the elect. Yeah, there's no partiality in those. Those that are not the elect, should I say? Yeah, if you're not the elect, you're gonna get it, right? That shows you the power of the Most High, and that the righteousness, right? Because even Israelites are gonna get severely punished, man. It says they should know a death by pain, right? So it shows you that the Lord is about justice, man. Yes, so this is Acts 10:33. Immediately, therefore, I sent to thee, Salakia, and thus has well done that thus art come, right? So, you know, many are called, few are chosen, but you done well good by coming. As I call for you, I'm the Most High. You come when I call you, right? And you did good by coming. It says, now, therefore, are we all here present before the power of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, to hear all things that are commanded thee of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, through his Son, right? So this is what we're here for. We're here to get the commandment, to get everything we're supposed to know, right? As concerning salvation, right? We have an unction from the Holy One, and we know all things, right? So now we're supposed to get that and use it, right? Then Peter opened his mouth, which Peter is King David, if you don't know, right? Through the reincarnation, regenerations, King David opened his mouth and said, of truth, right? I perceived that the power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is not a respecter of persons, right? Like, it's, you know what I mean? You're over there trying to, trip people up in their words, and then you're using it. Bro. Oh, man. It's crazy. But in every nation, right? Come on now. Don't act like it's just going to be Edomites alone. But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted of him, right? So this is only for the elect. The Israelites are scattered around the world, but the Lord is not a respecter of persons, right? All nations are going to get it, man, right? Which that's why what the Israelites are all nations. Says said the word which the power of the Most High sent unto the children of Israel. So you don't get it. So you don't get all happy-go-lucky because it said all nations, right? I try to tell you, it was about the elect, right? The power sent unto the children of Israel, preaching peace by Yahushua Hamashiach. He is the Lord of all. All who? All Israelites. See? But the Lord is not a respecter of persons, man. So just like there's Israelites everywhere, right? The Lord said, you touch the apple of his eye, which are the Israelites, and we're everywhere. We're in all nations, so all nations are going to get it. But the main place that's going to be destroyed is Babylon the Great, right? Yeah, so this is Zechariah chapter 2, verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. Hey, and what place is that? America. America's the daughter of Babylon. So where are we dwelling at? So that's the place the Lord is going to deal with brutally, man. Is the daughter of Babylon, which is America, right? Babylon the Great, also known as spiritually Egypt, spiritually Sodom, spiritually Nineveh, Tyre, the merchant city, with the bloody city, right? All right. And there's a couple other phrases that the Lord got that he used for this place. But, you know, that's what I could think of right now. But, you know, Nineveh, right? This place is about to be destroyed, bro. Right? And ultimately, it's the daughter of Babylon, because this is, you know, it's basically took out after all those customs of Babylon, right? Which Babylon took after the customs of Egypt, and all that stuff is all impacted and rolled into this one thing. Basically, the same thing they did in Rome. This is the second leg of Rome, right? America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts meaning armies, right? So what do you do with an army? it ain't gonna be nothing pretty. It ain't gonna be good, right? After the glory has he sent me unto the nations. Woo! See, the Lord is not a respecter of persons, man. To the nations which spoiled you, right? Talking about the Israelites. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. So we got all these prophecies happening. So this time you get disenchanted and walk away, right? That is crazy, bro. That is crazy. Matter of fact, let's go into this next verse real quick. For behold, right, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I will shake my hand upon them, right, which means he's unpleased, which that's judgment, man. And they shall be a spoil. Hey, this place it's being taken now. That's why they're talking about not having no food on the shelves and things like that, right? The stock market's about to crash. It's about to be spoiled, right? And says, and their servants, right? The military, all this other thing, the police, all that stuff. It's going to get it. And ye shall know that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts, have sent me, man. He's going to send that death angel, which basically is Yahushai, man. Right? Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, right? They're so-called trying to stimulate the economy, and they're trying to do all these different things. They're trying to, matter of fact, today they just struck a deal with so-called, I think it was England or something like that, from the, because they were saying they broke off from the, the Brexit. So they made a deal with them separate from Europe, which basically is prophecy. That's what I'm saying, because it said that the tolls are partly iron and partly clay. So they're trying to find a way to build things back up, because that partly strong is dealing with their economy. So some of those European countries have a strong economy, and then some are clay abatyat, meaning debt, right? So we're in those times, and basically Europe, right, taking that deal with England. I believe England is a like basically it'd be iron. It has a pretty good economy. That's why they did the Brexit, so they didn't fall with everybody else. Their economy's still good, but then they're trying to make a deal with America, which is clay. So they're still trying to mingle the iron with the clay, right? And I believe they just did that today. And it says we would have healed Babylon, right? But she is not healed. See, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do these different things to try to heal it, but hey, she's not healed. Matter of fact, let me read it again, because I might have said Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If it be, she may be healed, right? Slakia. We would have healed Babylon, right? Daughter of Babylon, right? Which is talking about America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon. But she is not healed. Forsake her and let her go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and lift it up even unto the sky, right? Yeah, so this place is finished, man. The sins is reached to the Father, and they it's judgment time, judgment day, right? So this is all prophecy, bro. Why would you faint now? Why would you let that go? Why would you be disenchanted in the time that everything is, man? The Lord said He set forth a banquet, man. Right? Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Because the Lord said He set forth a banquet. Right? Yeah, this is Proverbs chapter 9, verse 1. Says, wisdom have built her house, right? Which that's talking about us, man. That's talking about the elect. Lord willing, we're part of that number, right? She have hewn down her 7 pillars, right? When you go back in the time of One West, they had a thing called the 7, right? And when you go into this word, go into the Hebrew, it basically means to swear, right? Or make an oath. And they made an oath to King Masha that he was King David, which, man, this is all prophecy, man. It's all fulfilling. It's laid out right in front of you. This is all real life. Like, man. So how could you let this thing go? It's so true. It's so real, man. It's right there. She have killed her beast, right? Talking about these different empires. Each empire that ruled, they got destroyed, right? She have mingled her wine, right? Giving us the right understanding, the right doctrine according to the scriptures, the Bible, right? Unto salvation, right? Right? Giving you because this is like a wedding, right? Right, and in a wedding, you always bring something old and something new to a wedding. So then she brought us the understanding, the precept upon line, here a little, there a little, some in the old, some in the apocrypha, some in the new, right? So you got the old with the new, and that's what you do to a wedding. You bring something old, you bring something new. Under modern, I don't know if they did it back in the day, but I remember when I was a kid, my mom got married and they were speaking about that. You always bring something old and something new. So this is a thing that they do. So this is understanding, this is what it was. The Lord was setting forth that the banquet table for a wedding. And he's bringing something old and something new, giving us the understanding, right? Right? That wine, mingled her wine, right? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? According to righteousness, because you can get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding according to wickedness, but this is for righteousness, right? She have also furnished her table, right? The Lord said that, go back to, Psalms 23, he said he had made a, let me get it real quick, because it's just real quick. Yeah. So this is Psalms 23:4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Where's that at? America. Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, we're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, for thus are with me. Right? How is the Lord with us? Through the scriptures, through the understanding, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is with us. And then he's about to prove it. Thy rod and thy staff have comforted me, which is talking about the scriptures, man. The scriptures have comforted us. And this comes with the comforter, or the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which gives you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? The times that we live in. Measure, therefore, the time diligently in itself. Right? Prepare thy soul for temptation. This is all the things that the Lord has told us, man. And that's where we're at. Thus, prepareth a table, right? Before me in the presence of my enemy. And that's when we're going out to the highways and the byways with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That table's prepared for us, right? We got the unicorn. Put your phone. You hit live or record, whatever you do. Boom, and then we're pushing forth the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of righteousness according to the scriptures, according to this wedding that the Lord has bidden the elect to. But the Lord, sometimes there's bad in here too, right? But you can't be in here without the right wedding garment at all, right? Right? So, because you don't even got a job, right? Because if you're not a prophet on the left-hand side or the prophet on the right-hand side, then you don't even have a job. So what the boom? No wonder why you just got kicked, right? You just got put out, right? Yeah, in the presence of my enemies, thus anointed my head, right, with oil, and my cup runneth over, right? Right? And the main one who got anointed was King David and Yahushai. Right? But they got anointed with the priestly oil. But that's happening to us spiritually, right? We didn't get the physical priestly oil like David and Solomon, but we're getting that priestly oil through the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? Because the Lord said he's going to set for us to be kings and priests, in which that's something he's always have said from the beginning, right? It says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, forever. Right? Because that's the time that's coming, man. We finna get the kingdom. and take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever, bro. So we can see everything's playing out, right? Right, so come back right here. So she killed her beast, right? Dealing with all these different empires, right? Because that's what Daniel's seen. The Babylonian, the Medo-Persian, the Greek, the Roman. Now we're in the second leg of the Roman Empire. Now we're at the toes of it, right? Partly clay, part iron, partly clay. So this, come on, bro. Why would you get disenchanted now, right? She had mingled her wine. She have also furnished her table, right? This is the wedding. This is the wedding, bro. She has sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the high places, right? And where are we at? Of the city, on the highways and the byways, in the cities, crying out loud, right? Having the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. See? That's the wedding. The table is set. Right before in the presence of our enemies. So everything is right there, bro. Says, whoso is simple, let him turn hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, come eat my bread, right? And that's not what Yahushua said to the 12 and to the 70, which the 70 disciples left, but only the 12 stayed, especially because the head, which Peter, spoke up and said, hey, Lord, where will we go? When you have the word of eternal life, you have the word, right? He said, come eat my bread, right? Which is the Lord, right? He's the bread, and drink my wine, which, right? Which is the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, which I have mingled, right? Giving you what? Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. It's mingled, right? It says, forsake the foolish, right? Forsake this fucking bullshit in America, man. Salakia for my language, but forget this BS in America, man. Right? The foolishness, you know what I mean? Or even how you feel. Your feelings are foolishness, man. Right? It says, and live and go in the way of understanding. And saying ultimately that's where we're at, man. We're here to go into the way of understanding, man. See, it's all laid out. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, right? Which are the Israelites, right? We've been reading is Israel, the nation of Israel, the Israelites, the children of Israel, right? Which really means sons, right? Because the Lord's dealing with the men first and foremost. But yeah, the women, the children is going to be saved also. But the men are raising up first as prophets, teachers, evangelists, right? Right? It says, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. That ye receive not her plagues. See, we're not trying to receive the plagues of this place, man. Which goes into these different bio weaponry war that Esau has for you, right? Which also goes into the race wars, the famine, all these different, wild beasts, and ultimately the ICBM missiles, man, right? The outer darkness that you're going to be in, that weeping and gnashing of teeth when the missiles hit, man, right? That fear you're going to have right before the missiles hit, man. Says, that regret, right? That says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the power of the Most High Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakal Kadash, remembereth her iniquity, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, right? Which is America, daughter to Babylon, which is spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt, right? Double according to her works in the cup which she hath filled to her double, right? So this double trouble, right, for America, man. So without knowing all that, man, hey, there's no fainting. Lord willing, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that I do not faint, and none of you brothers faint either. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, with all that, all praises and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and do well, the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom, to you sisters, you Akhwathiim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball, Plum Yasharala.